Hey everyone, welcome back to my latest rally trapping video. So in today's video, we'll be going over how to build a strong rally trap. So we'll go through everything you need to know on how to start a rally trap, on what to do once you actually have everything set up, and we'll go over all the tiers of rally traps from a free-to-play rally trap all the way to like a top tier pay-to-play rally trap. So we'll go through the troop comp, the heroes, the familiars, research, everything you need to know on how to build the rally trap. So let's get to the first one. So the first thing we are going to go over today is the troops. So troops are probably the most important thing you're going to be doing when building a rally trap, because rally traps and just traps in general, you need to have troops. So let's actually just take a look at a troop comp. So this is more of a massive rally party trap. This is not what you're going to be needing when you first start, but keep in mind, this is kind of the basis behind all trapping. First off, you're going to have your tier 2 frontline here. Again, the amount of tier 2 troops you will have will be based on how strong the kingdom you are in. If you're going to be taking multiple rallies, you're going to need more tier 2 frontline. Again, tier 2 is the thing that's going to be soaking up the damage. They are not going to be the ones doing the damage. So let's say you have some problems with people walking back from you. Adding more tier 2 is not going to help. What you need to do is add more tier 2 or tier 4 or tier 5. Those are the things that will stop the walkbacks. Siege, on the other hand, you need a little bit, but a lot of times the siege does not actually attack their siege. So unfortunately, it does work out. Sometimes it does work out other times. And the only thing that's going to stop people from walking back is adding more tier 4 and tier 5. So let's start off with a basic comp. So a basic comp, you're probably going to have 5 to 8 mil of each tier 2, depending on how big your kingdom is. If they're be running like triples plus, you might want to start adding a little bit more tier 2 in there and start thinking of maybe a rally party trap comp. If you're just taking singles, usually 5 mil is probably okay to start off as a frontline. If you're in a very small, weak kingdom, you can probably go less, but that's just a good rule of thumb. Start off at 5 mil, start adding from there. Tier 4/tier 5, on the other hand, that will depend on how good your stats are, how good the opposing people are. A good rule of thumb nowadays is probably around 2 mil at least of tier 4 equivalent to be rally trapping, because a lot of leads out there are pretty decent. If you obviously have worse stats, you might want to add some more tier 4, maybe even go up to 3 mil of each tier 4. If you have really good stats, you want to stay very small, maybe go down to 1.8. But nowadays, I wouldn't go any less, because since the leads are so strong nowadays, they might start walking back from you if you have less than 1.8 mil of each tier 4. Keep in mind, if you have really good stats, you can obviously start decreasing the amount of tier 4 you have to make yourself smaller, or you can just keep it up. But I would say 2 mil is a good rule of thumb, and then add some on top of that, maybe decrease some. If you have tier 5, again, tier 5 is a little bit stronger than the tier 4, so if you have, let's say, 2 mil tier 4, you can also run maybe a little bit less tier 4, maybe like 1.3 mil tier 4, and add like 500k each tier 5. You can add those in there and kind of do it, because again, a tier 5 is about 20% stronger than a tier 4, so you can change your comp up based on that. So again, that is all up based to you. Again, keep some tier 1 siege in there as well. That will soak up any Pyrus fodder and stuff like that. So people are pyrusing you. The tier 1 siege will help out. And like I said, the tier 1 or the siege himself doesn't always attack their siege. So if you start getting siege walkbacks, add more tier 4. So anyways, that's the troop comp you need to go. You need to go at least tier 2, tier 4. I would not suggest a tier 3 rally trap unless you want to go crazy, and then if you want to get tier 5, that is obviously something on top of that. So let's move on to the next section. So the next section we will go over is heroes/familiars. So your wall, what do you have on top of your wall? What heroes should you put on your wall? What familiars should you put on your wall? And we'll go through both sections here kind of simultaneously, since it is in one section, and I'll kind of go through that. So obviously, if you can have army attack heroes, those are probably your best bet. When you're doing a mix rally trap comp, this is probably your best bet to go. Just go mix. Army attack heroes, obviously most of them are pay to play. The only one that's on the wall currently that's not pay to play would be Watcher, because you can actually get Watcher through doing hell events, so that is the only free to play one here. So if you want to do a free to play account here, you'd probably just take off everything. I'll take off Watcher too. So the free to play options, obviously you have stuff like Demon Slayer here. You also have those are your infantry heroes. So these are your 2 infantry heroes if you need some infantry stats to put on your wall for free to play. There's also Rose Knight. You're probably, as a free to play player, going to always have it on there. It has army attack and cav HP. The other one you can put on there that's a cav hero is Child of Light. It's a really good cav hero to have on your wall. So those are your other 2 free to play cav options. And again, you can mix them up however you want. And then your 2 range options, where is it? Where's the best ones here? Obviously, you can do Bombing Goblin, because Bombing Goblin has army attack. It doesn't have any HP, so sometimes you might not want to have it on your wall, but it does give you the army attack. The other option for a range hero is Snow Queen, there you go, which gives range attack and range HP. So those are your heroes that you probably want to have on your wall as free to play. Again, this is a pay to play hero right here. Ignore that. It's just the leader. I don't want to switch it. But those are your options free to play. Obviously, if you have pay to play, you're going to be wanting to go this route here. Actually, I'll just get out so you can actually see it. So you have your Berserker, your Lore Weaver, your Songstress of the Sea, your Stormfox, and then you can also throw Watcher or another pay to play army attack hero. There's also 11k heroes you can actually put on your wall, but obviously most people won't be doing that unless you're spending quite a bit of money. There's only a few traps out there that actually run 11k heroes. I was able to actually play on one of them and it was pretty awesome. Anyway, so let's go over familiars next. So familiars on your wall, what you're looking for is probably some HP and maybe reducing their HP. There's also other ones that you can go for, and those are the Pack 5 familiars. So depending on your comp size, Pack 5 familiars work. If your comp gets too big, like this comp right now, you see the count does have Pack 5 familiars, but it won't run them. So if you're wondering what a Pack 5 familiar is, that is this one. Holy Terror is one of them. This is one of the better ones because it will actually target or trigger when 4% of your troops have fallen. The other Pack 5 familiars, like these ones, trigger at 8%. So what that actually means is, let's say you have a comp of, let's say 20 million troops, like a smaller rally trap comp, 20 million troops at 8%, that's 800k troops need to die before they trigger. At 4%, it's only 400k. Keep in mind, if you had a big comp at like 100 million troops, that's like 4 million troops that needs to die before they trigger, so it's probably not the most useful thing to have on your wall. This comp has like 70 something, so that's like, I'm not gonna do that in my head, it's like 3 million it needs to trigger at. So again, it's just too many troops it needs to trigger. That's why once you get too many troops, these free to play familiars are a little bit better. So something like, where did I put it? Oh, there it is, Hearty Feast. So, I can't actually click. I gotta click here. So again, Hearty Feast adds army HP 15% at the start of battle, which is really good. Actually, I can just click here. Okay, at the start of battle, what's called Drown Out here on Aquarius reduces their HP by 15%. So a lot easier to actually cap. You could also put something like this where it actually increases your stats, range attack. These are flat stats, keep in mind. And there's also other ones like, let's say this one. This one is a little bit interesting because the only way this is going to trigger is if this is in your front line. So if you know what they're sending, or you're going to be sitting in a certain front line for multiple rallies, these familiars are not too bad. So let's say you want to send in Cav. This will trigger when 5% of your Cav troops have fallen. So make sure this is your front line, because if you're sitting in range, this one will never trigger, because guess what? Your Cav is not getting hit at all. So keep that in mind if you're going to be using these triggering ones, that they're actually in your front line. There's also stacking familiars, but these are only good, again, if it's your front line that's being hit, because they only trigger based on the frontline troops, like your range troops being taken out, where these ones here trigger on your total troops getting taken out. So there's a little difference. So keep that in mind when you're actually looking for the familiars you're going for. So again, the 3 Pack 5 familiars, I'll just go over quickly. Holy Terror triggers at 4%. The Savage Breath, which is the Blackwing, triggers at 4%. And then the Giant's Fist was the Gargantua, also triggers at 4%. So those are the best ones to have on your wall. And then if you really need to do stuff, there's also other stuff like this. Actually, my face is in the way. 1 second. This one, like something like Piercing Strike, where it reduces your enemy's infantry HP. Those ones are also pretty good to have on your wall as well, so you can add 3 of those, so it will reduce them by 40%, and then you can put another, let's say, Aquarius, and it'll reduce it by another 15, and total will be like 55% their HP gets reduced. So keep that in mind. Those are options when you're actually doing this. If you're going to be sitting in a certain formation for rally party trapping, then you can get a little more specific, like say reducing their what's called cav HP, because if you're sitting in infantry, those cav blasts will be doing the most. And then, or something like one of these ones where it actually increases your infantry HP by X amount for like 15 seconds. That's another one, but that's a little bit more. So anyways, this is the familiars where we're going to go over. Next thing we will go over is research. So the most important research you'll be focusing on for your rally trap will obviously be military, because that's where you get all your stats, you get actually unlocking all your troops, and you get the counter. So this is one of the most important things when rally trapping is counter boost. So obviously there's also the counter familiar and the counter hero. If you can get those two plus this counter research, you'll be doing very well, because again, it increases the damage you do against a certain type of troop and reduces the amount you take from a certain type of troop. So you have all of them. It really does help out, especially at 60%. 30% is pretty much mandatory for rally trapping, but 60% is obviously optimal, but that's more pay to play. You don't technically need it, but it helps. It's probably one of the best things to actually spend on if you're planning on spending on a rally trap. Make sure you get the counter boost. Obviously, you need to unlock tier 4. You can unlock tier 5 as well. Where is tier 5? Where's gear? So yes, you can also unlock tier 5. Keep in mind, if you're unlocking tier 5, central command is not needed, so you don't need to go there, but everything else is needed except for obviously the siege. So if you're going to unlock tier 5, that can help. It's also not mandatory for rally trapping. It just add some options to your rally trap. There's also some good stats you actually get in the tier 5 thing here, so you actually get some 10% boosts from all of these as well, so keep that in mind. There's extra stats in that, but this adds about 80 million might to your comp. So if you're going really small rally trapping, tier 5 might not be the best, because you're about 80 million base might, a little higher than you would normally be. So those are really the most important things. The other one would be quick swaps, which would be an upgrade military here. So depending on how many quick swaps you want, again, this account has more than one. My other solo trap only has one. My rally trap has 2. This one has 4. So keep in mind, it depends how many quick swaps you want. I like having on a rally trap probably 2 quick swaps, so you can switch the gear around. You have your real gear, maybe a fake set, or whatever. You can also just use your construction and your research quick swaps if you just go to the quick swap thing quickly. So you can see there is just like a construction and a research quick swap if you need to use it. So you technically don't need to unlock more than 1 quick swap, because 1 quick swap would be your real gear. You can also just sit in your construction and research gear, and that's totally fine for baiting. So you don't technically need a fake set, but you can have that. This one actually technically has a bunch of blasts in it too, but that's because this account is special. So special in a good way. But anyways, so that's going to be the pretty much all the research. Oops, let's go back to the research thing. Pretty much all the research you need. You don't need wonder battles. You don't need sigils, familiar battles and familiars. It really depends what you want from that. How many familiar slots are you unlocking? So familiars, this is just unlock the packs. This one doesn't even have pack 4, because it does have the pack 5 familiars on the account. So if you need that, you can unlock that. But again, the pack 1 and pack 2, actually pack 1 you don't need to do anything. Pack 2 has some good ones in there, so you can do that. Pack 3, you technically don't need those for rally trapping. If you're going to go pay to play, you're obviously getting pack 5 anyways, so pack 4 is not the most important thing. So familiar battles, again, it just depends on how many slots you want. This account has 4 slots open, but this account also does leading, but it's a little special again. But you don't need that for rally trapping. 3 slots is perfectly fine for rally trapping. 4 slots obviously adds more what's called might on your account, so you got to decide, is that worth it? What familiars do you have? Is it worth it to unlock that? You could even start with 2 slots if you want. Again, 1 slot is, you do need the extra stats for rally trapping, so I'd go at least probably 3 slots for rally trapping, but again, you get some stats in here as well. So yeah, you actually get some familiar stats in there. So anyways, again, those are the only real researches that are useful. Again, you don't need wonder battles at all. Sigils are not needed. Military command, you probably want the breakthrough if you're doing mythic gear. If you're not doing any mythic gear, like you're not getting that, you don't need anything in command. Army leadership, this is just for your wedges. Again, wedges are good for if you're not countering them. So let's say you're taking multiple rallies, wedges can be a good thing to sit in to reduce damage from another thing. So if you have like ranged wedge, actually always unlock cav wedge. I'm gonna just put that out there right now. Always unlock cav wedge, because cav wedge is better against infantry and it is also better against range. So keep that in mind. Cav, it doesn't really matter too much, but if you take a look at the formations of the cav wedge versus cav foul, you can see where the infantry are. Keep in mind, infantry are really slow. So if you ever take an infantry blast, sitting in cav foul is really bad, because look where your infantry are. It's going to take them forever to get to the front of that battle, and then you get reduced damage, where this one, it throws your infantry close to the front. You will still be taking the damage from your cav, but your infantry do damage against infantry, so keep that in mind. You don't want to throw them all the way in the back. Honestly, the only thing that, if they set the cav blast, that's the only time I would ever maybe sit in cav. That'd be like cav on cav is the only time where cav foul is okay. Both range and infantry blasts against your cav, you want to be sitting in cav wedge, so keep that in mind. Range wedge is much better against infantry blasts, so if you're getting full countered, range is obviously the best, but it's worse against range blast. So keep in mind, don't sit in range if they're sending a range blast at you, just because, don't sit in range wedge if they're sending a range blast against you, because again, your infantry are thrown way in the back. They're very slow. You'd be taking a lot more damage from a range attack than you normally would if you're sitting in range foul. Again, infantry, just sit in infantry. Like infantry wedge, I don't really see that thing. Why would you throw your cav in the back? Your range already attack, so just an infantry foul for that one, unless you think for whatever reason your front line is going to get destroyed and then you take a range attack. But that's the only reason. Like, maybe don't go offline in infantry foul, but that's the only reason for that. So anyways, let's go back here. So again, those are the only researches you really need to do. Defenses, like these upgrade defenses and defense, don't need. Economy you have to do because you need that to unlock tier 4, so you're forced to do that. Monster hunt, completely unneeded unless you want to monster hunt for your gear. So again, that is research. So let's go on to the next thing, which is your gear, which is also really important. So the next thing we're going to look at is gear. So again, gear is going to be very important. This is where you're going to get all your stats from. You'll be getting most of your stats from your gear. So make sure you're picking the right gear pieces. We'll go through each piece individually and show you what the best piece is for them. So I'm just going to move my face a little bit smaller here, just so you can see the gear pieces. So now that I'm tiny, let's look at the gear pieces. So probably the most people are going to be using is the Frostwing Greatsword. It is probably the cheapest thing to get, the easiest thing to get. Even free-to-play players can probably get the Frostwing Greatsword. And again, you don't need exactly a mythic Greatsword. You can always go gold. If you're going purple, it's probably not the best piece for rally trapping. You probably want to be getting up to gold there just so you can get that. So keep that in mind. If you're going to be rally trapping, try to get your Greatsword, the gold. That is the first option. The other options are obviously Skull Crusher, which is a little bit better than the Frostwing Greatsword. The Greatsword just gives attack across the board. Skull Crusher does give some infantry defense, so if you're ever going to be sitting in infantry, that will be very helpful. It also has the army attack and higher range attack, so even the attack stats are technically higher than the Frostwing Greatsword. So Skull Crusher will be the one that you want to get over the Greatsword if you can. If not, that's totally fine. Greatsword is great. obviously the other options for that will be champions. So champion blade, and where's the other one? Champion greatsword here are probably your best in slot pieces. So if you are whatever super pay to play, go for the champion pieces, and it'll really depend if you need the infantry range stats more, or the cav range stats more. So basically, the thing is, do you need infantry or cav stats more? Because they both have range. So those are your other options. And there's also a pre-level 60 option if you really need to do that, like you're just starting out and you're pre-level 60. You could also go the Decadent Sword or the Kraken's Anchor. Keep in mind you do need the halos for this one, and you also need the pearls for the Kraken's Anchor. So those are expensive. They are pretty good. It's probably your obviously best pre-level 60 gear choices, but I would rather keep the halos and the pearls for, let's say, cups or your legs or something like that if needed. Again, if you have a better legs thing, maybe the Kraken's Anchor, but keep in mind you're using some pretty hard to get rare items to build those, but they are pretty good as well. So let's go over to the second. I guess there's one other option. I'm sorry. The other option is the Fiery Tomahawk. That is the very free to play option. I run that on my solo trap, but obviously it doesn't give the greatest stats, so I wouldn't suggest rally trapping that unless you're in a new kingdom. Don't be using that piece. If you have that piece as your main sword, maybe you should be second guessing rally trapping at that point. Anyways, let's go on to the helmet. The next piece here for the two choices, pretty much for low to pay to play and stuff like that, or even free to play, go Beast Helm or Bumblebee. Bumblebee is better than Beast Helm. Keep that in mind. You have higher stats, higher HP, or higher attack, higher HP, all that stuff. So go for the Bumblebee if possible. Your second option is Beast Helm. If you're going, like, let's say between a gold Beast Helm and a purple what's called Bumblebee Helm, go for the Beast Helm. But if they're the same level, let's say they're both gold, obviously always go for the Beast Helm. The other option, again, Champion. So Champion is your other option, but that will decide what stats you want and all that, so never mind about that. But if you're going super pay to play, go Champion, but that's kind of all this here. So if you're free to play, don't go Champion. If you're super high pay to play, go Champion. Anyway, so let's go to the next one, which will be the armor here. For the actual, like, non-free-to-play, or what's called non-super pay-to-play, again, Firewall Plate is probably your best option for that. Gives good HP, gives good attack, all that stuff. There isn't really another option for that one. Like, you can go Hardened Carapace or the Hedonic Cuirass, but again, this is using your halos, which you probably want to be using for your cups. But keep in mind, you can always change it around. Again, these ones are much harder to get, but you can go that one. But again, the best level 60 gear right now is Firewall Plate, and then Champion on top of that. So yeah, so Firewall Plate, and then Champion is your other option for that. Boots, you have a couple options for this one. It's not just one option. You actually have two. One is Dragon Talons, the other one is Storm Tassets. I prefer the Storm Tassets. They do have a little bit less army HP, though. They have much higher attack, and they have army defense in there to try to make up for some of that army HP that you're losing. So those are your two options. I find Storm Tassets the best in slot for that one. Dragon Talons are a close second, and then Champion if you're going high again. That's the other option for that one. So we'll go offhand next. So offhand, there's pretty much a couple options, but there's a clear winner for the offhand, which is the Winter Mitts. If you have, let's say, purple Winter Mitts, and you have the option to go for the Scimitar down here, where is it? The Lunar Scimitar at Mythic, you are getting more army HP from the Scimitar and more attack, so that is actually an option if you only have purple mitts. But once you hit those gold mitts, definitely go for the Winter Mitts at that point, because they start getting much better than the what's called Lunar Scimitar. Another option technically is Eternal Codex, but there is no army HP, so unless you're sitting in Cav, it's probably not the best what's called piece for that. It does give good attack, so if you already have good HP and everything else and you really need that extra attack, Eternal Codex is definitely an option. And then where is it? Where's the Dragon Talons? Dragon Fist, sorry. The Dragon Fist is the other option. It has really good cav attack and has good army HP in there as well. So for whatever reason you cannot get the Winter Mitts, Dragon Fist is also an option. Or let's say you're needing some cav attack in your set, Dragon Fist is another really good option to add in there because it also has the army HP. So that is also a very good option. Again, Winter Mitts better, Dragon Fist is a little bit under that one. Again, it's a level 50 gear. Makes sense, it's not as good as level 60 gear. The champion offhand and everything, it's okay, but even if you're like going full pay to play, I'd still go for those Winter Mitts. Those just defensive stats that you get from them are really good. But again, if you need the extra attack, champion is an option, but I say go for the Winter Mitts. So the offhand, so there's a bunch of options for the accessories for this one. There's some easier to get ones like the Blight Ring or the where's the scroll down here, Burning Scroll. Those are some good easy options to get. Even the Dragon Iris is not the worst thing in the world. It's obviously not the best piece. You can obviously get better stuff than the Dragon Iris, but the Burning Scroll here, you get some army attack, army HP, both pretty good. The army HP on the Dragon Iris is technically higher, but you get better attack stats from the Burning Scroll. Then you have, let's say, where is it? Going back up here. Back to level 60 stuff, you have the Blight Ring. Blight Ring's really good because it gives quite a bit of army HP and army defense, much more than the Burning Scroll. Only gives 19% army attack, so, or not army attack, range attack, so it's a little bit lower on the attack for that one. And then you have your really good in-slot pieces like your cups and where's they got the new ones here. Where is it? These ones here, the Book of the Dead and the what's called Polar Ring. These are also really good ones, but again, those are just really hard to get. The cups are actually easier to get nowadays, so cups is probably your best option if you're looking for in-slot pieces. Even down at purple, they're pretty good. They might not be as good as, let's say, some mythic ones, but they're still not decent. Gold are pretty good as well. You're getting 50% total attack, and you have your HP, but 15% for infantry and range. Not great for cav, but obviously you could add some other stuff in there. And then obviously the best ones are any of the champion accessory pieces. You have your champion faith, your champion valor, champion blessing. You can't go wrong with any of them, but again, they are the most expensive piece of all champion, requiring 14 crimson mains to actually get that up, and then another one for actually another 14 to get it up to mythic after that. So 28 plus, or over probably 30 gold mains total to get actually all of that together. So keep in mind, unless you're really pay to play, I'd stay away from those. I'd keep with the Blight Ring, the cups, and maybe the Burning Scroll. And then if you, for whatever reason, get the Book of Dead or the Polar Ring here, go for it. But that's pretty much it. So if we were going to go for a well, actually, I'm not sure if I need to. Yeah, anyway, so if I was going to make a set here for a, let's say a lower pay to play, it would kind of look like this one here. 1 second, I'll make it quickly here just so you can see it. There. No Dragon Tap. Actually, it does have, yeah, something like that. And then offhands, I'm not making the most optimal set. I'm just saying, I'm showing you a set that you could build. I don't know if he has anything else. I also have to throw another cup in there. But this is a normal rally trapping set. It doesn't have to be all mythic. Keep that in mind. You can have gold pieces in there, purple pieces in there, but these are kind of the best in slot for lower pay to play. Obviously, if you want to start throwing in, let's say, some mythic champ in there, that's also an option. So instead of having these pieces, you throw the mythic champ pieces in here. And then you have the Skull Crusher. So this is just like an upgraded version of the last one. Throw another cup in there as well. Why not? So that would just be an upgraded version of the previous set. And then can I make a lower version of that? Uh, not really. I mean, you can throw the fiery tomahawk in there, but it's not the best piece. But does he have dragon talents too? Yeah, you can throw dragon talent. Actually, there's another mythic champ piece in there, but ignoring that. So you can throw dragon talons. Let's say that one. That one. We're just going a little bit lower tier. You've got the Hedonic Curse in there too, so you can do that. Maybe just those. And I don't know, something like this would be a lower tiered one here. Sure. Something like that. That's also a legit set there as well. If you're looking for other pieces to put in your set, that's also okay. But this probably be the worst. Then I showed you the second best, and then obviously the best is once you start getting the mythic champ pieces in there. So anyways, let's go over to the familiars themselves and take a look, and we'll also go over artifacts as well. So let's take a look at familiars now. So we showed you wall familiars, but there's also some other things you can do with familiars, because familiars give stats. So if you have the pay-to-play familiars, you can also start upgrading these things like this that give you stats. So I'll go through all the pay-to-play ones. You can see there's army HP, army attack, there's range attack, cav HP. So all these pay-to-play ones, that's the only one you probably don't need is coalition attack, unless you're rally leading. Infantry attack. Where's the next one? Jade Worm is very important. This is the other counter familiar, which I was talking about. So if you're looking to get your counter attack up, Jade Familiar is the best, or it's the only one. So make sure you get this, and it gives you all the different boosts on there as well. Yeah, Gargantuan gives you attack stats. Let's go down to some of the other ones that you might not know give attack stats. So again, the what's it called? Stacking familiars also give attack stats, so keep in mind there, or at least that one does. I don't think the other ones have. Yeah, so this one is the best. Trickster, it does give attack stats, and that's right. It's the wrong thing. Anyways, Nostros I think gives attack. Yeah, Cav attack. Whereas Mole Shaman gives infantry attack, so you probably want to get that up as well. So these are just all little things that you can actually level up. Pyrus gives something. Was it? No, that was. I forget what the other one was. One second. Let's see if I can find it. Gather around. What's this one? Healing speed. Nope. Actually, that's not too bad if you need healing speed. That does help with reducing your time. So keep that in mind. So all those familiars do give extra stats on top of the fact that they have the familiar skills. So if you do have those familiars, make sure you get those extra attack stats off. They give you good base stats and all of that. So the other thing to get really good base stats is obviously from your accessories here. So keep in mind, if you are trapping, you do not want to get too many levels when you are adding in your artifacts, because people are going to see it like, oh, this guy has like 400 levels and like 300 stars. Those actually show up on your character page. So as a trap, you're trying not to show your stats. You're trying to look a little weaker. So try not to add too many stars. Don't just start like leveling up your blue ones down here. Like you don't need to level up all these blue ones here. They're just going to add extra levels, extra stars onto your account, and it's going to look a lot stronger, which you're not trying to do. You're trying to make yourself look weak so you get hit. So keep that in mind. Don't be adding just random stars. What I would suggest is going through your gold ones, leveling them up as high as possible, because again, people don't know which ones you have leveled up. They just know you have stars and know you have levels, so that's all that's going to show up. Try to keep your levels, your stars under probably like 30 or something like that, so it doesn't look crazy. Again, that's just up to you where you want to keep it. Just don't get in like the hundreds, because then it starts getting a little like, oh, this guy might be really strong sort of thing. So if you ever look at someone's stars and they're like, that guy looks strong, don't have that many stars. So level up the ones that give you the most stats, and those be the best ones to get. Like this one is actually really good because it gives you really good HP and defense stats, so that one's good. The ones that give you like attack, just like base attack, these ones are really good. This one, obviously, the monolith here gives attack or range and cav attack, just base stats. It's not inferior or anything like that, and infantry HP. So the ones that give you with your leader and just base stats are obviously the best ones. Same to look like these, adamant hammer. So try to get these ones up as high as possible that you can. Obviously, you want to keep your amount of books and stuff that you can actually level them up, but since you might not be able to get them up to 12, but keep them up as high as possible that you can keep all of them around the same level, so you're actually getting all the extra stats without extra spending sort of thing. So keep in mind, gold ones you want to get the stars up in the gold ones, get your levels up in the gold ones. Maybe ignore the purple ones. Obviously, this account is more of a lead account than a rally trap, so it's kind of both. It's a very, very low base might lead account / trap. But obviously it has a little bit more money in there. That's why these ones are higher. But if you're rally trapping, I would suggest getting these ones up first at the top here. And then after you've got those up probably as high as possible, then you can start looking for some purple ones because they are a little bit cheaper at that point and you get the stats from them. So obviously Battle Fury and stuff like that, not the most important thing as a trap because sometimes you don't want to go into Battle Fury depending on the kingdom and you're trying to migrate with leaders and stuff like that. So you don't want to be having too many stats into the Battle Fury one if you can't go into Battle Fury or you're planning not to do that. So keep in mind, ones with the leader and ones with just base stats like this are the best ones to get up, and level these ones up high. And once you've leveled these up to a certain point where it's really impossible to level them up anymore, then maybe start thinking going down the purple. Just completely ignore the blue ones at this point. They just don't give you the stats that you need. Like these stats are so low for the actual number of stars you're getting. It's not worth having on the account because it's just going to make you look stronger, but you won't be that much stronger. So try and get these ones up because at least you'll be super strong for how you look. So keep that in mind when you're doing that. And again, if you do have let's say a lot of Battle Fury stats here, so let's say like this account has a lot of Battle Fury stats, try to find kingdoms where you can go into Battle Fury because if you don't have the comp to go into Battle Fury, you're just losing out all these stats that you actually have. So keep in mind, make sure you have a comp that you can actually go into Battle Fury if you have a lot of these stats. So that's the other option there. The other thing is heroes. The other hero I wanted to show you is just the counter hero, there he is, Chronicler. So this is the other counter hero that you should be getting. I've showed you all the heroes on the wall, so I don't need to go over heroes right now, but there's also just the counter hero here that gives you all the boosts. Try to get this one up if you can. It does help out quite a bit. So the last thing we'll go over is just the talents. Again, talents is really up to you what you want to do with talents. It'll be based on your stats. So obviously if you're doing war talents, you want all your war stats. So I would literally just start with your squad health, your range offense 3, your cav offense 3, and your infantry offense 3. Just max all those out and then go from there. Like, take a look at your stats. What are you low in? What do you really need? Are you having problems capping cav blast or something like that where you need some extra range attack? Are you having a problem capping infantry where you need some more cav attack? That's when you start going down here and start adding your stats in. Again, squad health is always good because obviously HP reduces the amount of damage. If you seem like your attack is totally fine, you just want some extra defense stats to stop like Pack 5 familiars from doing more damage, max out all the HPs, max out the defense, and then you can put some attack in there. So it really depends on your comp, what your stats are, all that stuff. But like I said, just start with these 3 down here, or these 4 down here, max them out probably, and then you can put these stats in whatever you want after that. These ones, those ones, let's say, whatever. Also make sure you get this one too, because it gives you army HP 5% for only 5 slots. So that one's also really good, so don't forget that one. So max that out, max these 4 down here, and then you have extra ones to put in whatever you decide to go, even if you want to just go in defense and reduce some damage from the Pack 5 familiars. So that's pretty much everything we're going to go over today. The other thing is, obviously, infirmaries are good because they give you army HP and they give you space to actually allow your stuff to come into your infirmaries so you can heal up. But with rally trapping nowadays, there's also the option to go manners as well, like instead of infirmaries. But hear me out on this. It's because you get almost, or at least 60% of your troops will be saved in here, up to 80% depending on your divine resurrection space. If once that fills up, it goes down to 60%. So if you are planning on rebuilding, taking a lot of rallies and rebuilding, a lot of times you don't want full infirmaries because it's really expensive to rebuild on full infirmaries. Sometimes it actually gets to a certain point, it's more economical to go full manners than full infirmaries, just to take the damage and then rebuild. So keep that in mind if you're taking, let's say, especially multiple rallies. If you're taking singles, it's usually more economically viable just to go what's called infirmaries. But if you're taking multiple rallies where you don't get the heal anyways, what's the point of having all these infirmaries other than, let's say, the army HP? Because again, they do give army HP, so keep that in mind. So these do give army HP for each infirmary you have, so each one you take away, you lose the army HP, but again, you will get some attack. So if you are going to go the, let's say, no manner or the no infirmary build, make sure you're adding some extra HP into your gear and your stuff, and then you can, because you're getting some extra attack from the manners, so you can take some attack out of your gear, throw some extra HP pieces into your gear, and maybe same with jewels and stuff, maybe throw in a champion jewel if you have it instead of an attack jewel, because you'll be getting the extra ones from there. So that's another option. And the other thing I wanted to tell you was you don't really want to get too many castle stars either. So just like the artifact stars, getting too many castle stars on your account, again, this is a lead account / rally trap, so it's going to have a little more stars. But a normal rally trap, I would not suggest getting these stars on here, because again, if you look at the account and it has 60 castle stars, you're like, I think that's a trap. I think that's a trap. I might not want to hit that. That account's going to have good stats, because again, your stars show your stats, because all these stars are giving the person stats. So for every star you have, that's more stats that person has. So again, don't get too many artifact stars. Don't get too many castle stars. If you're trying to trap, again, doing stuff where people can't see, like wall heroes, are always a good thing, because people can't see your wall heroes unless they walk back. Then same thing with your gear, unless you put your gear on. That's pretty much it. And like I said, if you're going to be doing this, make sure you level these up as high as possible, because they don't know they don't know how strong each of these levels and each of these stars are. They just know how many of them that you actually have. So hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any more questions about rally trapping, leave it in the comments down below. Hopefully I went over enough stuff today. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. If I did, maybe I'll have to do another video. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.